Hello, Guardians. Welcome to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm your host, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is the Jotun Toten, the vault-dwelling, the Grandmaster himself, Mr. Josh Finney.
I love your names. I'm going to miss hearing my name next week.
I know. I'm going to have to get those fill-ins like Nerd Generalist and Colonel Panic.
Yeah, I will be on vacation next week, everybody.
I'm so jealous.
At this time, approximately, when you are listening to this next week, I will probably
I'll be building my lightsaber and shoving my face with Earl of Sandwich.
That's on Saturday. When this goes live, when the next week's episode goes live on Friday morning, I will likely be having breakfast at the Polynesian at Disney World.
At Ohana?
No, at Kona's, because I'm getting Tonga toast.
Ooh, Tonga toast.
For those of you for the uninitiated, it's banana stuffed sourdough French toast.
It's really good.
And it has a pineapple sauce on it. I'm very excited for this. I'm excited to get diabetes from breakfast at Disneyland, but it's going to be awesome. Very excited. Going on vacation with one of my nearest and dearest friends. Him and his wife are joining my girlfriend and I. And it's going to be a fun vacation. We're doing 4 days at Disney, and we're doing a day at Universal. So
I'm very jealous, Josh.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm gonna send Corey tantalizing pictures of Earl of Sandwich, because as you all know, Earl of Sandwich is the unofficial sandwich shop of Tower Casuals.
We're not opposed to it.
I'm staying in a hotel that is within walking distance. I can literally see it from my room.
I just want to say, Earl of Sandwich, Earl, pal, buddy.
Earl, baby, we know you listen.
If you,
and that's not a joke either,
want to be the official sandwich of Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast, we will not say no. We can't say no to the
We'll get on
Earl.
A plane. I will fly down and do a live episode in your establishment
for free. We will work for sandwich.
Way.
We will work for sandwiches. That's it. You know?
Yeah.
Just, if you give us, like a sandwich or two, maybe some JoJo's.
Let us hand out stickers that say Zavala's Sandwich Casuals on them.
Yes, and I will bring you guys shirts so you can just wear them. You know?
Yeah. I mean, come on, we can make this a whole partnership, baby.
We could do a whole thing,
But no, really, we are really excited to go. It's been a long time. For those of you who don't know, my girlfriend is a nurse. The last 18 months have been really difficult on both of us, mainly on her, but just emotionally taxing on us, and really, like on everybody, obviously. And she's been fighting the Delta variant.
Well, more for her
over here, down here in Texas.
Texas is
we're going
special.
from Texas to Florida, so I don't know if that's any better, but
it can't be worse though. At least you'll be in Disney.
That's true. That if I die, at least I'm at Disney. We're going down there for a few days. We're taking you're gonna use my family's timeshare and go down.
By the way, speaking of, did you see the power went out at the Polynesian today?
I did, because the monorails died both there and on the way to the Contemporary.
Yeah.
That's like a nightmare of mine. So like I've actually shied away from riding the monorail since I've been old enough to drink. Mm-hmm. Because one of my worst fears in life is getting stuck on a hot summer day on the fucking monorail after I've had 5 beers. That's not an exaggeration. I literally drink my way around World Showcase. That's how I spent Easter 2017, was drunk as shit on the Epcot monorail. I just sat there for 45 minutes, apparently. And the guy just kept asking, "You guys okay?" Because we were literally the only ones riding it. My girlfriend's like, "Yeah, he's just really drunk and literally can't walk to the bus right now."
Yeah.
So,
dude, drinking around Epcot is the best. Can I just
genuinely one of my, it's such a first world problem. One of my vacation fears, it's not losing my luggage, which now I'm sure is going to happen because I just said it out loud.
Why would you do that, Josh? Why would you just say that out loud? I have been
pulled aside for secondary screening and the full body pat down so many times because of the titanium in my legs. I am mostly afraid. I'm not afraid of the plane crashing, nothing. I am afraid of getting stuck on the fucking monorail at Disney World, drunk, hot without air conditioning and not knowing what's going on. I'm actually borderline terrified of it.
Well, you should be. You should be, Josh.
So, unless I'm watching fireworks, I don't want to be stuck on the monorail.
I mean, when my dad and I went last year, we got stuck on the Skyliner for like 20 minutes, and I thought,
oh god, that's almost as, but dude, that's literally hanging there. Nope, that's even worse.
Yeah, it's worse.
I'm already claustrophobic.
Can confirm. Worse. The whole box made of glass.
When those things fucking sway, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
I rode them once, looked at Chelsea, and said, never, ever again am I riding one of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought we were going to crash into another. I would just, no. It's not good for somebody with chronic anxiety to ride the Disney Skyliner.
Dude, it was terrifying, let me tell you.
I literally did not take my Xanax that morning because I was going to be drinking, and I was just like a jittery mess riding that thing.
Yeah.
So, no, never again.
It was funny because my dad is like not really afraid of anything, and he was just laughing at me the whole time. He was literally sitting there laughing at me the whole time.
It's literally the worst. But enough about my vacation plans. You will get a special segment when I come back, which, no, it will not be me talking about building my lightsaber.
Why not?
Wishing that there's a Destiny land at Disney World. It'll be me talking about playing Destiny on my iPhone with the Backbone controller while waiting in line for rides. I'm going to try it on 5G, and I'm going to try it on park Wi-Fi.
God, dude, that park Wi-Fi sucks, though.
The experience is.
Dude, the park Wi-Fi is so bad, though.
Dude, I'm gonna crash the fucking Wi-Fi because I'm gonna sit there trying to do strikes and play. This is not a joke, no meme. Trials of Osiris comes back next weekend while I'm out of town. I'm playing Trials of Osiris over hotel Wi-Fi on my phone.
Man, so that's gonna be an experience.
I apologize in advance to anybody who matches up with me. I'm very sorry.
Oh yeah, because Trials has matchmaking now.
I'm very sorry.
I don't know if you are, though.
Terrible experience for all of us.
That's the thing. I don't know if you are sorry. I think you're just laughing inside.
Listen,
deeply.
I'm doing it for science. Okay. We don't have. There's nothing in the TWAB this week. Let's just cut to the chase. There's literally nothing in there.
Yeah.
Pull it up. Go.
Are you kidding? Dr. Lupo played Deep Stone Crypt with.
That's what I was gonna bring up. That video's fucking cool. Okay. If you want to see Dr. Lupo do the Deep Stone Crypt raid with a live orchestra backing him, go watch that video. It's actually really dope. I just muted it whenever Dr. Lupo talked, but it was really cool. No disrespect, we like you, Dr. Lupo. I just, I don't like to hear people talking during the spacewalk. Deep Stone Lullaby is a sacred tune to the Destiny community.
Can I tell you that my son, the Deep Stone Lullaby, puts him to sleep?
Oh God! Just God bless that child. But what we may lack in a TWAB this week, Corey, we have some news bits from around the horn.
News bits from around the horn.
Joe Blackburn and oh God, I just totally blanked out on his name. Justin Truman. That's who I'm thinking of. Basically the directors of Destiny now, since Luke and Mark got promoted earlier this year to being franchise directors. They've been on a huge interview spree, which is not something we really saw a lot with Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy. But Justin and Joe have been out doing a lot of interviews, and they've let out some interesting nuggets that we didn't really get in the reveal, and it's because I don't think they made sense in the context of the reveal. But there's some things I think that are really interesting to long-time players. But also they shed a little bit of light on some of the new mechanics that we're going to get in the Witch Queen. So I want to go through these. Just a few comments that I found that I think are interesting for us to talk about this week before we get into some patch notes that are actually important. And we might have an extra long war corner tonight.
Ooh.
But the first thing is the topic of the raid coming back. They said, I believe it was in the interview with Polygon, that they're bringing a major raid back. So
they said it in the reveal event.
They did, and they kind of further clarified when they said a major raid. To me, that disqualifies Crota.
Yeah.
Because Crota is basically a glorified dungeon.
It's not Crota, and Man,
it's not Wrath of the Machine. It's fucking King's Fall.
As much as I liked Wrath of the Machine, that's not a major raid. That was a hold. It felt like a holdover. No offense to the team.
I would like Wrath in the game simply because that is the one raid in the entire franchise I've never actually cleared. I've gotten all the way to where Axis had like a pube of health left. And then the name of my clan's namesake was born. My girlfriend shanked the final orb that needed to hit Axis straight into a bottomless pit, and we wiped because he was enraged.
Wrath of the Machine is a good raid. I enjoyed
Wrath
that
raid. Wrath of the Machine is good. I'm not gonna say great. I think it's good.
I mean, it's a good like short like, hey, you guys want to raid? We only have this amount of time. Let's go. Let's just do Wrath. It's short.
Yeah, I think it was good. I like the Siege Machine in particular. And I think like if you did the Outbreak quest in Destiny 1, that probably adds to your enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
For me, like it was so far into the game. I mean, this is literally the week before Destiny 2 came out that I was like, nope, I don't care anymore.
I mean, there's no point at that point.
One day. I still may go back to Destiny 1 one of these days to finish it.
Well, if you do, you know who to call.
If I do, yeah, I'm going to call the Ghostbusters, baby.
Oh.
There's no trace rifles. I don't know what I'm going to do. But it's got to be King's Fall. Like, there's no other option to me. It's got to be King's Fall.
Nope, Leviathan. It's coming back.
Dude, if it's a Destiny 2 raid, I'm going to be sorely disappointed. Because knowing my luck, it'll be like Crown of Sorrow. And so I'm like, I'll be like, oh, great, a raid I'm never going to touch again. Awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's gotta be King's Fall though, right? With the whole theming around the Hive and Savathun and their connection with Oryx, like it.
Right, like if you want to keep that storyline going for the year, like I know they said they're like, oh, we're gonna try and tie reprise content in. They clearly only did that with Omnigul, and then they were like, fuck it after that. Which I mean, good because I don't know how you rationalize Sepix Prime coming back for like a 5th time. He's as bad as Tannix. I did see somebody joke that we're going to load into the Witch Queen raid and Tannix is going to be a resurrected guardian.
Yeah.
He's going to have a hive ghost.
Yeah, I saw that at some
point. I was rather annoyed seeing that because I was like, no, stop. They're going to hear you. You're giving them ideas.
Tannix is just the meme now. He's the meme
Dude,
now.
It's so bad. Listen, when we eventually get Guardian apartments, I'm going to my little igloo on Europa. I'm stealing Tannix's head and I'm taking it back to put above my bed. I'm sorry, that head belongs to me. Elsie did nothing to help us in that raid. That thing belongs to me.
It's true. She did not.
I'm gonna put it right next to my Eyes of Tomorrow with the Splicer ornament that I have not bought yet. But I bring up King's Fall coming back because there was another little nugget in that Polygon interview, and that was talking about the raid armor glows that we had from the Age of Triumph at the end of Destiny 1. Everyone remembers, or Age of Heroes, whatever it was called, at the very end of D1. Everyone recalls those raid ornaments, even though most of us were done raiding by that point. And if you've never looked at these, I encourage you to go look at them. We thought for sure, we'll get that Vogue armor in Vault, at least in Master mode.
Yeah, like if you completed the hard mode one, you would get.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If this was in hard mode and like just say like your first completion of it or your first completion of each encounter gives you an armor ornament, and like you just get the ornaments. It's not actually armor. Yeah. I think we'd all be really happy, and it would have given us all a chance to go or a reason to run Master Vogue. The one time lost weapon a week thing isn't doing it for me. Not when I already don't use most of the weapons from Vogue.
Right.
Like Fatebringer. I think Fatebringer is like the main one that people are using, right?
Yeah, I mean I use Vision a lot.
I don't use Vision.
But I also have a really like awesome roll on it, so
I mean I do. I have other scouts that I like better personally.
Yeah.
But I mean if you've never looked at these ornaments, I encourage you to go look at them because it's funny, you look at them and you're like, oh, the Vault ones look so cool. King's Fall looks awesome. Arguably the best set of armor they've done in either game, excluding the upcoming Thorn armor. Arguably the best set of armor Bungie's ever created. I think that the Crota set is really cool too. It's a little too green. You look like the fucking Green Giant or Shrek or something. And then you look at the Wrath of the Machine armor, and it looks like something out of Super Hot. It's so bad. Like, you can't make this up. You cannot make up how bad this looks. But I think that what they specifically said in that interview, I want to make sure I got my wording correctly here. Glowy raid armor and souped-up versions of raid weapons could potentially return, but they haven't decided yet. I think after the reception to Master Vault, you have to at least be seriously considering maybe not these specific armors, because I'm one of those, like, I don't want to earn the exact same stuff I had in Destiny 1. I've gotten some of the same armor now. Specifically, my Dead Orbit cloak is very similar to what I had in the first game. My Opulent Stalker cloak from, from Season of Opulence. That's very similar to the Unbelievably Old cloak from Destiny 1. It's basically the exact same design, just with a different pattern on the back. But I had that because I had my little radio on it. I had the Dead Orbit version of that, which is my exotic cloak. I think when we talk about bringing things back from Destiny 1, we have to be really careful what we bring back. Like, bringing Gallarhorn in for the anniversary event, great idea. Great idea. We, Corey and I have talked about it a lot. Like, would Gallarhorn ever come back? And, like, ideas for it. I think that's awesome. You're going to get it in a dungeon from Azure. And the dungeon is in the loot cave. Like, that's really, really cool. Like, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for things like King's Fall to come back, because I think about the great times I had running that. I think about some of the weapons in there. I think about Touch of Malice in particular. And, like, just how many doors this opens. It opens the door for that. It opens the door for the 3 original exotic swords. Boltcaster, Dark Drinker, and, a Raise Lighter. You think of those ones, but then you're like, well, that also opens the door. It's a spiraling effect, right? That opens the door for us to bring back Crota down the line as a dungeon. That opens the idea for us to bring back Moon and Dreadnought strikes and bring those into D2. And, then we start thinking about, well, we heard about how much work it is just to bring over our Crucible map. Like, I can't imagine what a strike or a patrol zone must be like, There's so much to consider with that. And I think when we bring D1 content over, like, I think bringing activities over is cool and bringing back a handful of the weapons. Like, I Vault did it well. Vault did not bring every weapon back. Vault left 3 weapons behind. It left the armor behind. I think it was good how they did it. Master Mode needed something more, and it still needs something more, I argue. Because there's really not a huge reason to go run it. Unless you really want the time-lost versions of these weapons, or you're going for the seal, there's not a huge reason to go run Master. That's why I haven't bothered to do Master Vault yet, personally. And we know that they're going to add a Master Mode to every future raid and dungeon from here on out. I genuinely wonder if there's going to be one for the 30th anniversary. I would imagine there will be. But I don't want to see, like, every random... Like, we've had so many legendaries. We kind of addressed this last week and in both of our shows last week about how there's been a lot of Nightfall weapons that we've had brought back, and they're weapons that we love. Like, this season, we have the Comedian Shotgun back, for example. And that's really cool. Like, I have good memories with that. I don't know if I really want it back, though. Like, we've had so many legendary weapons in the last year be brought back specifically as Nightfall rewards that I just don't know if I want anymore. Like, I like Destiny 2 so much because I feel like we've evolved so far beyond what the weapons were in Destiny 1 now. Like, I still have rose-colored glasses. There's not a day that goes by that I don't long for my old LDS or my 1,000-yard stare. Like, I'm thrilled 1,000-yard stare is coming back, but I don't think we need every random legendary ever made put into this game, regardless if it was top tier or not. Like, AS Luna, okay, AS Luna is one of the top hand cannons ever in D1, probably will still be one of the best in Destiny 2. But when it comes to the armor, like, unless you're going to bring over these specific armor ornaments, like, I'd rather see something new. I want to see something on this level, but brand new if you bring a raid back.
Yeah.
And I hate when people go around, like, when Vault was coming out, they're like, this is the bare minimum we should expect. Like, no, it fucking isn't. They're going to give you a Vex set. Like, this would be cool for Master, like, just to keep like, kind of loop back to it. I'd be okay with these, but I have a feeling if these ever come back, these will be Eververse sets, and there will be something different for Master Mode.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, tie them to Triumphs. Like, oh, you have to complete Confluxes for the Vault class item. for the vault class item ornament. Like, if I'm putting forth that effort to do that activity that only a fraction of a percentage of people will ever do, just give me the ornament.
Yeah.
Just give it to me. Because, I mean, and that's kind of the next thing I want to get into. I've seen a lot of people say this. I've seen, Paul Tassi was talking about it a little bit ago on Twitter. It's the transmog cap needs to go.
Yeah.
I was fine with it last season because it was still something else to do. Like, I was passively earning the currency, but it was maddening that I could only pick up one at a time. I'm already done with my 10 transmog bounties for the entire season right now. Because I've done like 5 of them just in raids and dungeons since the beginning of the season. I've done 2 in Crucible, I've done 2 in Strikes, and I think I did 1 in Gambit. Like, I'm done. I'm done with mine. I may not be done. I think I have the final one in my inventory right now, and I need like 3 more Crucible matches to finish it.
Yeah.
And I'm done. I'm done until they reset the counter in, probably December?
Probably, yeah.
They're probably not going to do it until the 30th anniversary update. That's ridiculous. In a season that's this long, like, I'm glad that you are expanding it to 20 for this season. If you're going to have a cap, make it a bigger number, like 20 or 25 a season.
Yeah.
I don't think now. We've talked about this so many times. The whole point is to push you to purchase those tokens, right?
Yeah. This
just feels like such a blatant grab to get people who are impatient, and I'll tell you, it's fucking working because I'm thinking about it. Because it's just maddening. Like there's still like I was like this when they first announced Transmog was coming, and I was like, well, how many times are you really going to need more than like 10 tokens in a season? And then I look at all the raid armor sets that I have. Like, I want to flex those. I want to show those off. If there's like really dope armor, like the Thorn armor, which I'm pretty sure is not going to drop as ornaments, I want to be able to transmog that right away. 5. I need 5 tokens for every class right away.
Yeah.
Right away, I need to do it. So I'm going to do all my ones this season because I've got such a long season now.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. You can only hold 15 at a time for each class also, which is maddening.
Yeah.
Joe and I actually found that out the other day. He had 15 of them, and he tried to turn in Synthweave, and it wouldn't let him. I just don't understand, I guess. In a season where I feel like they're getting so much right off the bat.
Right.
It's maddening to see things like this, the cap to the seasonal currency, to the parallax. It caps out at 1,500. Most upgrades at the compass thing cost anywhere from 450 to 700.
Wow.
The tier 3 Umbral Ingrams cost 600.
Wow.
Like, I like that we get it dropping from every activity. I get about 200 a match now after buying the first upgrade for how much you get from bosses. Like, I get 200 per Nightfall. So cool, I can go run a handful of Nightfalls and get it done, but it shouldn't be capped.
Right.
I understand why you cap certain things on the compass in terms of story progression and things like that. Cool. I get that. I get locking the story out week to week. What I don't understand is why not open up? Why not open up the upgrades on the compass, right? Like, at least it's not as maddening as the servitor was. You only got that currency if you did overrides and expunges. It got to the point where I wasn't sure I was going to finish the title last season as easy as it was, because I didn't think I had it in me to farm that much Fractaline.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. And it wasn't like the hammer charges for the hammer approving where you could get those anywhere.
Right. That's the thing. I feel like you should be able to, like, you should be able to
get charges for my lure for everything. Last season, I hope, was an outlier. But if you're going to keep doing these seasonal arena modes or like these 3 to 6 person activities, I'm cool with that. I like that, even if they're pretty cookie cutter. And they have to be for randos, right?
Yeah.
But holy shit, like, please keep letting me earn this. Why cap me? If you're going to cap me at some arbitrary number. Cap me at 10,000 like everything else.
Yeah.
Even with 10,000, I couldn't buy every upgrade on the board. I couldn't even do that. And now you've also gone and patched an exploit that was in the game where if you do a tier 3 decode on a weapon, you will get double perks in both columns 3 and 4 instead of just in the last column.
Yeah, I saw that today.
And that got fixed. That got fixed yesterday in a server-side fix. They didn't have to deploy a hotfix for that. That was just deployed server side. Oh, we didn't mean to let you do that. Motherfuckers, this is exactly what you did with Menagerie, except Menagerie you let run rampant for like 5 or 6 weeks, and that's why everybody thinks it's the greatest activity in the history of Destiny.
Menagerie's... No.
Menagerie is the most overrated thing in this game. I'm not going to lie.
I don't want to say it sucked, but it was like...
It didn't suck. No, it absolutely didn't suck. But when we say, oh my God, Menagerie was so good, Menagerie was fine when you were getting 4 or 5 items per run. You ran out of the room, reset your lure, you got back. You could do that 4 or 5 times on console before the end. PC, you could do it like 6 or 7. Like, that is awesome. That was cool because that's how it felt the loot should be. It was exactly as bad as Battlegrounds. It was, you did it for 20 minutes for 1 piece of gear, ultimately.
Right.
It was cool that you could pick your gear and you could like try and navigate what masterwork you were going to get and things like that. But at the end of the day, it was still like, I don't think it was nearly as rewarding in loot like as you can get now in some of these activities.
No.
And I mean, the seasonal modes have always been really bad at that, right? Like I see people complain about the Umbrals. I'm like, I will take Umbrals over Menagerie any day because I can earn Umbrals in any activity. God, I have to spend seasonal currency to get the good stuff.
Like, I think the Umbral engram stuff is really cool. I wish it was a little bit more focused, or like maybe each, like, I don't know if this would even be possible, but like let Zavala have one. Let the other vendors have like little like versions of the Umbral engram and let you focus. You know what I mean?
Well, so I think what they're doing is, I think Trials is their kind of grand experiment right now for vendor refresh.
All right, they are doing everyone's Trials. I forgot they were doing something like that.
I think that they're going to do a big thing. I think if it goes good with Trials this season, that gives them 6 months to implement it for all the other vendors by Witch Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine you could focus and you could get one of like, say you're at Zavala, you have the chance to do that. And you can unlock any of the Vanguard weapons that can drop from strikes. There's like 4 or 5 of them right now, I believe. Maybe 6. There may be 6 of them now. But similar to how they do in Trials, what if you paid extra, an exponential amount more you pay more to get a Nightfall weapon. You pay a lot more than that to get the Adept version. But you had to have cleared a Grandmaster in that week to even be able to access that.
Yeah.
That would be a great system, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I want to spend all my time chasing an Uzume roll, for example, the Solar Sniper from last season.
Right.
Let me do that. A lot of us wanted Hung Jury with Firefly last season when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And we were killing ourselves to try and get it, or get Plug 1 with the new with the Reservoir Burst. That's what it was, not the battery, Reservoir Burst, to basically make it Loaded Question 2.0. Like, if you can do things like that and like target those, that would be awesome. I don't know what your solution is. Like with Crucible and Gambit, obviously smaller pool, that's fine. Like let me target a Frozen Orbit. Let me target Survivor's Epitaph if I want to. Let me target the new, or I guess it's not new, it came out last season, the Gambit SMG, which really isn't that great. Bottom dollar. We were all trying to get bottom dollars the season that they came out, and they just wouldn't drop.
Right.
What if you could go focus those? Like, pay more to focus, obviously, but I would rather do that with those primes that I'm getting and be able to focus on, like, the fact that the prime engrams you get from the vendors don't even drop the playlist weapons is pathetic.
Right.
That's just sad. It needs to be stuff that's currently in the rotation that we want, and if you're not willing to do that with them, that's okay. Let me buy a Crucible engram at the Umbral Decoder. If I want to spend my seasonal currency on something I can get out of a playlist, let me do it. You let me do it with everything else. Like we've got a friend of ours, Ray, is starting to play Destiny again, and I'm trying to get him caught up on weapons. So I'm having him buy Splicer engrams right now because you get 2 weapons.
Right.
If you buy it. You're getting 2 for 1. I'm like, you'll get this season's stuff just by playing because you got to play a lot. Mm-hmm. And they're going to drop from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't just dropping from the seasonal activity like, Chroma Rush and Ignition Code in them. Or so many of your challenges will reward you with a roll for those also.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, I think in that way, the catch-up mechanic is really good through the Umbrella Coder.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 6 months to get those, to get seasoned and chosen weapons. He doesn't have to bother with those activities outside of doing them for the story if he wants to.
Right.
Which he likely will for, like, chosen. He wants to see how we get to Proving Grounds. He wants to see how we get to the Zavala assassination.
Right.
He did the final override with me. He went in with me and did it so he could see the Saint 14 cutscene. You know, and now we're doing the weekly story missions together, so I can kind of help explain where we are in the lore. But if you're gonna have catch-up mechanics like that, I think you got to have them for the vendors too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Trials, keep Trials where it is. That needs to be through Saint. I should never be allowed to get Trials weapons through the Umbral system. Ever.
No.
Ever.
Definitely not.
But I think maybe that's the happy medium if you don't want to let us do it through the vendors. At least upgrade it to where when I pick those legendaries from them up, which I ignore every season because they're 30 below where I am.
Right.
At least when I pick those up, let them have the playlist weapons in them. Even if I'm just getting like my 50th Frozen Orbit or 3rd Axiom, let me go ahead and get it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's wrong with that in a loot-based game. Give me as many opportunities as possible to get them, and maybe expand the perk pools on these guns just a little bit more. Like, I don't know, like, bring back it seems like we're getting a new set of weapons being brought back every season. You know, we had the Future War Cult weapons come back last season, along with some old Dead Orbit favorites last season and this season. You know, do that. I don't know. We're on a good path, I think, with the gunsmiths selling legendary weapons now.
Yeah.
And with Xur selling them. The Xur's prices are astronomical, though.
Yeah, 1,000 glimmer and 50 legendary shards?
Yeah, I don't mind the 1,000 glimmer, but I mean, the people who are... Let's look at this realistically. If you're buying a legendary weapon from Xur, it's either because it's a god roll, or it's because you're brand fucking new.
Right.
Like, so the gunsmith had the curated bad omens that we get from Drifter for finishing a full reset of Gambit.
Yeah.
And Ray was able to just go buy it for 25 legendary shards from the gunsmith last week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I bought that version too, because I didn't have it.
It's cluster and tracking bombs. We're like 4 years removed and it's still good.
Yeah.
That should tell you something.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find it.
This isn't related to the conversation we're having, but a friend of the show, A1 Johnny, is texting me right now. He just played Iron Banner against Dado and apparently got the shit beat out of him. So that's really funny to me. This is not the first time he's lost to a prominent PvPer. Grenadier Jake also beat him in Trials and beat him really bad live on stream. Nice. So now I actually like kind of want to go see if Dado's streaming and like rewind it when it's on VOD to see the exact moment that he destroyed John.
That's hilarious.
But John, we love you. We really do.
Yeah, he sent me a side tangent too. He sent me a bunch of like Titan builds, which I'm super appreciative of.
Good.
So,
I mean, like, this is the season. Like, I guess kind of moving. Like, it's still relating to gear, but this is the season. Like we said it last week. It's embracing its RPG side. This is going to tie into our next topic that they've talked about this week. But this is the season to start experimenting with a lot of builds. Mm-hmm. If you've held off, Warmind cells may not be as OP as they used to be. They're still good. If you want to play with those, play with those. This is a great time to build a Charged with Light or Elemental Well build. Mm-hmm. Elemental Wells have literally never been better than they are right now. Like, maybe we can all make sense of what the fucking Elemental Well is. Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, those are there. There's obviously, you know, there's stasis armor dropping down. There's special mods that only work on stasis armor. I'm finally using those 100 enhancement prisms that I have saved up from Master Nightfalls last season. I'm finally going to use those. Yeah, I wish that I still had my 10 golf balls that got deleted, but, you know, I can use some of those Ascendant shards. I didn't grab any of mine from the past last year. Got the ones coming up this year. I want to have a whole set of stasis armor just hanging out in my vault because I want to mix and match. I want to use the season to experiment with armor. Like, I want to have raid armor leveled up so that, oh, this is my raiding set. So I have mods to help me out in certain encounters in vault. Mm-hmm. I don't need it in Deep Stone anymore, but like, I want to get into a habit of doing that because whenever a new piece of in-game content comes out, I want to be able to upgrade that armor right away so I can insert
right.
a
That's about where I'm at. I'm trying to grind out and build like not like specific builds because I don't know how they're going to change next season, but just like basic, like General, I need you in this activity build. Can you perform this task for me? Like a super bubble titan, or he sent me some some God, the solar
Thunder.
titan builds
Yeah, yeah.
for ad clear and just other things, and it's like
I
really
mean, and
been
I think
cool
the
to
important thing
experiment
about
with.
this is like you're gonna bankrupt yourself if you're trying to do a whole set, like have multiple sets hanging out in your vault. And
Uh-huh.
take it from somebody who's done this, you're never gonna remember to pull all that out.
Yeah.
Like I'm only doing a full stasis set because I want to see what mods I like where,
Mm-hmm.
and so I can slot things in to try out in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like I change my mods on the fly so much, but
Yeah.
my charge with light almost always stays on there because I'm so not only am I used to running that, but because that fits my play style.
Right.
Right? Like I'm usually I may be a hunter, but I'm typically in a support role. So as long as people are casting supers around me, they're charging me and I'm doing extra damage.
Right.
Even though I'm throwing that divinity bubble down, getting that extra like 300 damage per hit is helping monumentally.
Mm-hmm.
It lets me cast my super without, and because the boss hasn't died, I don't lose my stacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing extra damage, and like that's what we want to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you're in a support role, like you want to be able to do that. Like I'm playing with the artifact mods this season. I think they're all awesome. Like a lot of the ones in the last two columns, really cool. Like they're really encouraging stasis and solar. And for a hunter, it's like thank God, thank God. Like I don't feel as bad about having to run Celestial Nighthawk or having to run my stasis super now because I instantly get my melee back if I stun a champion.
Right.
My throwing stars stun an unstoppable champion now. Mm-hmm. And they're leaning into unstoppable and overloads.
Right.
I don't think there's ever been as much freedom with your build as there is this season. But if you're going to talk about freedoms and builds, you also have to talk about the restrictions that champion mods place on us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because this season, it's unstoppable sidearm, unstoppable fusion / linear fusion, overload bow, overload sword, anti-barrier auto rifle, and there's one more that I'm forgetting. Unstoppable pulse. Unstoppable pulse, anti-barrier auto rifle, unstoppable fusion, fine. Overload sword that's going to get a little dicey. Unless you're using a caster. If you're using something like Solar Scar, I think that's okay. Because you're shooting solar damage out. You can stun from a distance. Black Talon may be useful in that regard. Overload bow is where I have an issue. I know a lot of people love this mod. I don't like using bows. I just don't. I tried all through Forsaken, waited, went back when Trinity Ghoul came out with the Catalyst, still didn't like it. I've never cared for a little Monarch. It was to the point where we were doing, and I was trying to get the Deadeye seal done. And I had to go on a point of the Stag in the Crucible, and I just wanted to like rip my hair out. You know, it's like I would have some matches where I was like, oh, I'm getting like 15, 20 kills, and then I have some where I'm getting like 3.
Right.
It's not enjoyable to me. Like I was doing Nightfalls with Joe this afternoon. We were just running 1290s. You know, we were running the second tier, just trying to get a couple weapons to drop. He needed enhancement cores and or prisons and upgrade modules. So he had those mods on his go. So we were just talking. It's Lake of Shadows. It's a 7.5 minute Nightfall. Like it's nothing. You barely have to try, even on the second difficulty. But he was running overload bow, and it was just a frustrating experience. Like you have to use that, you have to use the sword mod, or you have to run divinity to stun them. And it's like, well, whenever I see overload and I know that like there's either not a bunch or we're going to need divinity for the boss or for a couple mini bosses or something, I'm like, well, I guess I'm throwing that on because that'll stun them real quick without having to use up a ton of ammo. And I want us to get to a point where we don't really have to worry about that anymore, because I think that really, for me, it detracts. Like, I had this conversation with Nerd Generalist, and it says, I think it would be better off for us if we had a couple permanent mods for champions. Like, make them cost like 4 or 5 energy. I don't care. And then the ones on the pass cost less. So it's encouraging you to optimize your build, but give me one that's worth like 4, and it's a permanent unlock of like anti-barrier scout rifle or overload scouts. Like anti-barrier auto rifle, unstoppable pulse, and overload scouts permanently in the game for like 3 or 4 energy each, and then they only cost 1 if you get them in the pass, if they happen to be in the pass that season. Let the artifacts allow me for more experimentation. Let me get that wacky stuff like unstoppable fusions, which I'm actually stoked about because I like running fusions, and with Vex Mythoclast, it's a joke. Everything just dies.
Dude, everybody's using Vex and like in Crucible. It's either Vex or that the season pass one right now. Fusion rifles.
Lawrence Driver, I'm not it's good. I don't like it because I'm not a big linear fusion guy. It is good though. It's really good, even in PvE. I think when you can combine exotics with the anti-barriers, it's opened up a whole new style of play the last few seasons, right? But I think you have to have those standard mods so that way people who may not think Ray wasn't aware that you had to go to your artifact to get mods to be able to stun champions. He's like, well, it shouldn't be that way. Totally agree. Like I like that we have unstoppable and anti-barrier and some overload built into a few of these weapons. A few of the exotics you could get, especially during Shadowkeep, most of them seem to have that. I don't like that we've gotten away from that. I actually really hate it. But I don't know why that would be such a bad thing, or make it a perk on the guns. Make it a bonus perk you could get. Like when you masterwork it, it gives you I don't know. After you masterwork, maybe you can
even an adept, like if you go for the adept version.
Yeah, if you go for the I think it needs to be accessible to people who are lower on the ladder. Like, let me pay 3 or 4 prisms and get a random champion mod slapped onto it or something. So I can use some of this stuff anywhere. That would encourage you to be using those endgame materials, not be hoarding them like so many of us do. But I think that opens up a whole new style of play. And I'm just spitballing. But I've said it for a while. I think the champion system needs to be reworked. It needs to be overdone. Like, I've never been a fan of content that's hard just for the sake of being hard. Like, that's my neighbors above me. I like content that's challenging, that feels rewarding. And when we have double Nightfall weeks, it feels really rewarding. Really rewarding. I love going in there and getting like 3 golf balls, a couple prisms, and maybe 2 drops of the weapon, or getting double exotic engrams. Like, it's always a great feeling for me. But why not sweeten that a little bit for everybody? Let me masterwork something and get a random champion mod thrown on it, or give me something as a permanent unlock. I don't know. I think it would, because the conversation we were having is we don't really want to play the endgame content. We don't want to play Master and Grandmasters this season because we don't want to be forced to run a bow. Something we already don't like in the hardest content, some of the hardest PvE content in the game. That's just not fun for anybody when you have to run stuff you're not good with because of necessity. I'm not rushing a champion with calling guillotine in a Grandmaster. I'll tell you that right now.
Why not?
So I'm going to pretend you didn't just say that. Like, I don't want to get curb stomped by Randall the Vandal or Shrek the Ogre. I want to curb stomp them. It's not supposed to be the other way around. But I don't know. I'm starting to go off on a tangent, but we have some of the best customization we've ever had with builds. Let me enhance that just a little bit more when it comes to champions, because I know champions. I personally know a few people who have been really put off by wanting to try harder concept because they're like, we already have to deal with match game and with some of these armor modifiers, and then we still have to use stuff we don't like on the champions. And I think so many of us got spoiled last season with the breach-loaded grenade launcher mods. I think we got spoiled with that, not just breach and clear, but we had, I believe, unstoppable grenade launchers also, if I remember correctly. You had, anti-barrier auto or pulls, overload scouts. It was a great selection of mods. It was a great time to go run that content. I mean, even the season before, we had anti-barrier sniper back in Chosen. I can't tell you how awesome that felt with Izanagi's Burden. It was great. That's the kind of stuff I want to see when we talk about wacky mods. I don't want to open it up and in the first column I see my options for overloads this season are a sword or a bow. Give me one of those and one normal one, please. Like, I get what they're going for because, bows have unlimited ammo now, but just Jesus Christ, y'all. The other thing I would say in terms of builds is there was a comment they made about the weapon crafting that's coming up. And I want to find exactly what they said. I got to scroll down. I want to see exactly what they said. Fuck, now I can't find it. There we go. And this was with the game post. By the time you're able to make the exact god roll you want, you will have the ability to make all versions of that gun that you want. That's awesome. They're giving us the customization we're asking for because they did confirm raid and dungeon weapons will be able to be built through weapon crafting. That's cool. It's probably not going to be cheap, but they have said like all of the materials we will use for weapon crafting, we will earn in the Witch Queen. Nothing that we have now will give you an advantage. New players and veterans will start on the same page, which is what you have to be able to do with something like this. I think that's pretty ballsy to introduce that this far into Destiny and then say everybody's got to start from square one. But I do think that gives a lot of the veterans who always want to chase that perfect role, this gives us the way to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I like how like they say everything's going to be earned in the Witch Queen. I know like maybe you don't want to start from square one if you've been playing for so long, but also I think it's kind of like a nice reset to even learn all the new things they're adding anyway, right? And
I mean, and that's what an annual release should be. It should be a reset in a way. It should introduce a new concept. Like if, for example, with Forsaken, we got not Armor 2, we got Weapons 2.0 in Forsaken. With Shadowkeep, we got Armor 2.0, and we got the Lectern. We got the first instance of being able to really, truly customize your loot. We'd gotten it with the Chalice, but we really got it there for the first time.
Yeah.
With Beyond Light, you had and you also had in Forsaken, you had Subclasses 2.0. Don't forget, we had 9 new supers introduced with that expansion.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then Beyond Light, you had Stasis, which shook up the entire game. And now we have Stasis Legendaries and Stasis Armor being introduced instead of just a couple of exotics.
Right.
We're getting an exotic trace rifle.
I got the Stasis shotgun the other day.
I love that thing.
Yeah, I do too. I wish I had a better roll on it, but I like it.
Honestly, that and the Iron Banner sidearm, honestly, are pretty early contenders for the best legendaries of the season.
I really like the sidearm from Iron Banner. My roll sucks really bad, but I would really like.
I need it with Headstone is what I need.
Yeah, yeah. I like it though. I really do like it. The pulse rifle. I know we just kind of went off on a tangent, but the pulse rifle.
You're fine. We're talking about weapons in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, like the pulse rifle from Iron Banner is okay, but the sidearm is like if you guys want to grind that out this weekend, you should do so because it's cool.
I like the pulse. It's a 390, so it's like bygones. I was going to talk about Iron Banner weapons in a minute, but we can definitely talk about them now. Like Iron Banner is the other vendor we talked about that really needs a refresh, and we know that's coming down the line.
Mm-hmm.
This week for me accentuated that more than anything. Like I heard Paul Tassi said he turned in 800 tokens and got 2 sidearms out of that.
Yeah,
and that blows my mind. I mean, there is a good enough pool of weapons in Iron Banner that I want to be able to customize my loot now. Like, let me spend. I have 4,000 Iron Banner tokens. 4,000. Let me spend them on some of the shaders I've missed over the years. Let me spend them on those sweet ornaments from Curse of Osiris and Warmind that, like, I have the Warmind set, but
I still wish they would I still wish they would give you, like, let you buy ornaments that you missed in the past. Like, I still wish that was a thing. I know we talked about that beforehand, but, like, God. Because, like, I mean, just like the seasons I kind of took breaks on, like, I don't know, like that Saint 14 ornament set is cool.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think they're starting to bring stuff that was in the season pass back for silver. Because the other day, their daily silver discounted offer that they had was the emote from that season pass where you're feeding the pigeons. Right. They sold it for like 500 silver, I think. 500 or 600 silver on their daily offer. So I think that next year it'll be like, because this fall in November it will have been 2 years since Shadowkeep came out and since the first exclusive season pass stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
Let people buy it. I'm not saying like let them buy it for. You have two options. Either you sell it for silver, which we know is what's going to happen, or you let us buy the old passes and work through them and level them up ourselves, which I still think needs to be a thing.
Yeah, because I wonder if they'll reconsider depending on how Halo's battle passes do.
I think they're going to watch that. I think they're going to watch that and Battlefield very carefully.
Yeah, because they've both confirmed that you can work through season passes at your own pace and
it's no different than Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, so
I want to talk about this Headstone perk real quick before we get off of weapons and we go to kind of the final like little tidbit that I want to talk about. Headstone is a new perk this season. There's a lot of new perks this season. First off, I encourage you to look at all of them. I like Encore. Encore is a good one. Harmony is good. They all they're great. We got like 5 new perks this season, not counting the couple in Iron Banner. Iron Banner armor now drops with random perks. That's kind of cool. Where if you have up to 4 pieces of Iron Banner armor starting this season, and it has to be this season's armor or later, you get an increasingly high chance for a enhancement prism to drop at the end of a match. And you can have up to 4 pieces. Like, I think that's really cool. It's another way to get those endgame materials going. Which, if you're going to promote Iron Banner as like a pinnacle PvP activity, so much so that you're going to cancel trials on those weekends, I think it's important to put your best foot forward and give people that stuff they're craving. But the new perk, Headstone, I want to read it. So Headstone spawns a stasis crystal on precision kills. A crystal that can be shattered and then interacts with all your other stasis aspects and fragments if you're running the subclass. You don't need it, but it synergizes directly with the subclass builds. And I want to read directly from Paul Tassi, because I think he had a really good write-up on this 2 days ago on the 31st. We're recording this on the 2nd. He said this on Tuesday the 31st. I believe Bungie is about to fundamentally alter the way elemental damage works on weapons and directly integrate the elemental type of a weapon with the upcoming revamp of light subclasses, something we're now seeing with stasis. Previously, elemental damage type on weapons has done almost nothing. You use it to match shields, you can use it for certain burns, but other than that, there is no difference between Arc, Solar, and Void. We started to see additional moves towards weapon type mattering with some reworks that require you to use weapons that match your subclass type for additional effects. The entire Elemental Well mod system is based around that and continues to expand. But I believe we're going to start seeing elemental-specific perks that interact with the verbs of the subclasses. So for Stasis, we have Headstone, which allows you to freeze nearby enemies with the crystal and kill others with the Shatter. Now Bungie has introduced us to keywords of the Void rework, which we went over last week, including Suppression, Weekend, Volatile, Overshield, Invisibility, and Devour. Imagine those things going into your gun. And he gives a specific one here. He goes, how about a perk that makes your next shot suppress after a kill? Imagine that on a sniper, for instance. How about one that makes an enemy volatile after repeated precision hits? Imagine that on a hand cannon, a scout, or a pulse. How about, you get the idea, and you can extend that to Solar and Arc 2 with burns, chain lightning, et cetera, et cetera. We talk about how we want to see the game evolve in an MMO and RPG way. This is how you're going to do it. And I think Headstone is their first dip into that to see, is this actually going to work or not? Headstone is something that could actually help make something like Salvation's Grip meaningful in content. You shoot that out, you start getting some PvE kills, and you start throwing your stasis melee or your stasis turret out, and bada bing, bada boom, there's shatters going all over the place. You're doing shatter dives into big groups of enemies because you've got extra crystals and you've got extra freezes going. There's so much potential here. Like, I'm running the Iron Banner sidearm with a sniper or with the Forge pulse rifle. And it's great. I think it's great to pair with things. I have been chasing the Tombstone roll since we found out about this. We started kind of hearing by Tuesday evening that this was the thing. Like, I've done 3 days straight of Iron Banner trying to get this sidearm to drop with that perk. I would love to be able to just be like, I got 4,000 tokens. Let me turn all these in at Saladin and guarantee myself rolls of this particular gun until I get what I want.
Right. I think that would be, like, I just feel like You should
Not that would be rewarding, but I'm only saying that because I've got 4,000 freaking tokens.
But like it encourages people to play the game mode,
right,
and store up the tokens to try to get the roll instead of, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it encourages you to play even more because like, oh, I've earned the sidearm. It had a crappy roll, but now I have 200 or 300 tokens to turn in. Let's go see if I can get a better roll on this weapon that I've unlocked through the vendor.
Which is how it should always be, too.
Yeah.
This is a loot-based game. Let me do that. I want to be able to craft. If I unlock a weapon in Iron Banner, I want to be able to craft a new version on the crafting table. I don't want to have to wait a whole month for Iron Banner to come back.
Right.
Let me go craft it. That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't
like let me do things like that. Like this new perk, so Tombstone or a Headstone. I keep calling it Tombstone. It's fucking Headstone. Rolls on the hand cannon, the Iron Banner sidearm peace bond, and the new linear fusion trials gun. Reed's Regrets. Those are the three we know for sure that it rolls on. There may be others. As of the time of Paul writing this article, those are the three we had found out. That's gonna be a perk on a linear fusion. That's going to be insane for things like trials or for comp. Like I look forward to seeing it with the hand cannon.
Right.
Like some of the combos people are going to pull off are going to be crazy. Some of those top tier plays, and like I just hope I'm never on the receiving end of somebody's stream when they use stuff like that.
Right.
But this is the kind of stuff I want to see. Like he talks about chain lightning as an example for arc guns. Let me tell you something. I played a lot of Hades. I really like Chain Lightning now because of Hades.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of that. That may get me to run an Arc subclass occasionally now. Like, there's going to be reasons to run everything. If you're going to integrate new weapons like this with the weapon crafting and with your subclasses, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I look really forward to that. But in the interest of not rambling on too much longer, there's one other thing I wanted to bring up tonight. Unless you have any more thoughts on this, Corey.
No, man. I'm just look. I'm listening. I'm learning. I'm also trying to keep muted because my son is. Anybody who knows who's had a baby, you know that teething is a good time. So
Is good the right word?
I don't even know if I know what words mean anymore. I told somebody work was fun today, so let me tell you.
Yeah, I want to drop two things here real quick. Where one is going to be a little fun nugget, and then the other is going to kind of lead us into lore corner. The first one is if you have not gone and seen the videos of the Briggs, the Abominations, and the Wyverns going Super Saiyan, you should definitely change that. There is literally a video of and I don't have a link to it, unfortunately, but there is a link I saw of a.
It was on Twitter at some point.
Oh, they're all over the place, but this specific one was edited with Dragon Ball Z sound effects.
Oh, of course it was.
From Dragon Ball Super, and it's fantastic. It's Goku basically going Ultra Instinct, which is like the highest you can go in Super. And then I need somebody to get like the Wyverns that just keep repeatedly diving. I've heard about that. Somebody get a clip of that and please sync All Might and All for One's fight from My Hero Academia when All Might does the United States of Smash move at the end of that fight. Mm-hmm. Please overlay the audio from that onto the clip of a Wyvern just like super diving and yeeting somebody and send it to me ASAP. I will watch and laugh and cry to that video. I really need that.
Wow.
Number two, on a little bit more of a serious note, we try to talk about the story every week, the story progression. I think Bungie very quietly dropped something this week that we haven't really... I saw people freaking out about it on the first day, but we were really like... A lot of people were keeping it to like raid secrets or to Discords and things like that. They have not so quietly confirmed that Savathun's not actually bullshitting when she says she doesn't control the Taken anymore, that she lost control, and that Xivu Arath doesn't even command them. The Taken are now commanded by their original creator, which is not Oryx, by the way.
Yeah, so everybody get that out of your head. Watch a bite
Everybody
video.
Get that out of your head. You're crazy. We may talk about bringing back King's Fall all the time, but it is not Oryx. Oryx is not back from the dead. Try as they might. Hashladoon's, cousins are still trying to bring Oryx back, and well, we kind of saw to the end of that in Pit of Heresy with Zulamach. But they very quietly confirmed that Xivu Arath serves the one who sent the Dark Fleet, who sent the pyramids, who sent the wave of darkness into the system that the Traveler repelled at the beginning of Beyond Light that we saw in that awesome cutscene right before, well, that sunset the map for us, basically.
Yeah.
They kind of not so quietly confirmed that. And it's like, they serve a new master, and it's like, oh shit, you're just really casually dropping this right here at the beginning of the season in almost throwaway dialogue. This is wild.
Like, if you're not paying attention, you're not going to get it. You're just not going to, like...
No, and I have the video pulled up. I want to read exactly what it says here. Mara has learned from her observations of the Witch Queen that the Taken have turned on her. If Savathun is to be believed, they now serve their original master. Mara says, something older than Oryx, something Savathun fears, and without the Taken, the Witch Queen claims she cannot break the curse. Mara explains whatever this master is, it commands Xivu Arath, who now conquers swaths of the Ascendant Plane localized around the Dreaming City. You have to work quickly to locate the rest of the Techians before Xivu Arath does. That is crazy. They also make a note at the beginning. Marisov points to Quiria's defeat and how Savathun did not anticipate it. The Witch Queen's schemes are unraveling. So that is just wild information for us to get in dialogue when you're picking up the seasonal or the weekly quest. Don't X out of dialogue anymore, people. I'm telling you.
Just don't. This seems like
don't.
Like, everything keeps, like, falling apart. This feels like the Thanos I'll do it myself moment.
It really does. And, I like that you say that because Joe Blackburn had a comment this week where he says to be able to build up to our own thing like uniting against Thanos is an awesome feeling. And he was talking specifically about the end of Light and Dark.
Yeah. And
that sounds really cool because we've said for a while we feel like we're building those allies, like those reluctant alliances.
Yeah.
For that. And we'll go into these lore books. We're going to go into the seasonal lore once I get back, because we'll be 3 or 4 deep by that point. We'll be about halfway through the seasonal story, it seems.
Yeah.
And I want to wait until we have enough of them. But like Saint and Mithrax are going to have some time together. We're going to spend some time with Keitel. It really feels like everybody's kind of getting in position like they were during Season of Arrivals, whereas last time we were evacuating people, now it feels like we're strengthening those bonds we've made this year.
Yeah.
And what better way to strengthen bonds than through iron, Corey?
Right. Let's do it.
Because we're going for Lore Corner to the new Iron Banner sidearm.
Iron Banner. What was that last part you said?
We're going straight to the Iron Banner sidearm for this season.
Oh, yeah,
Peace Bond.
That's a cool name.
For our first lore corner of Season of the Lost.
Ooh.
Peace Bond. I did not plan on reading this one today. I actually read this afternoon by accident, and I'm glad I did because I think it's a timely one for this week with the return of Iron Banner. And after that awesome cutscene we got last week, we got an actual CG one, then we got a sketched one at the end of the quest, which was Savathun telling us about her schemes. And we also Salad Man hanging out in that cutscene, but he didn't really get focus.
Yeah,
that's going to change right now.
I saw him.
I will honor the terms of this armistice on one condition: the Iron Lords enforce it. Lord Saladin. Each passing moment is marked by the click of an analog timer on the wall. When the pressure gauge reaches 100%, the timer releases in a final click, and the airlock doors grind open in a hangar bay. Lord Saladin tucks his helmet under his arm and marches inside. He is met by banners of blue and white ringing the walls, each bearing the crest of the Keitel Empire, the Cabal Ascendancy. A pair of blue-armored phalanxes greet Saladin at the entrance with raised rifles, but the Iron Lord strides past without a glance. The phalanxes slowly lower their rifles and turn toward a heavily armored Valis approaching from the other side of the hangar. "You come alone?" Valis Orok bellows, reaching up to wrench his helmet off. A pressurized hiss escapes as the environmental seal breaks. "You are bold, Commander." "Lord," Saladin corrects as he closes the distance between them. "My title is Iron Lord." Valis Orok comes to a stop, looking down at Saladin with narrowed eyes. Iron Lord Saladin. He tests the unfamiliar words with gnashing teeth. You are bold. I'm not here for your flattery or for your formal processions, Saladin rebukes, now within arm's reach the Valis. Saladin looks up at him, unafraid, undeterred. How do you want to do this? The Valis locks eyes with Saladin, then snorts loudly and rumbles with appreciative laughter. I have a war room, he says in a more conversational tone. No more boasts, no more chest beating. We are tracking the movements of Hive ships in the vicinity of the Mars anomaly. There have been developments in the Dreaming City regarding Xivu Arath you should be aware of, Saladin replies. Lead the way. Man, there is some other Saladin lore, and I kind of want to spread it out this season. It seems like we're going to get a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with Saladin, and I think he may have a bigger role to play than we realize right now. Maybe not this season, but it very much, if you read the dialogue when you complete the Iron Banner quest for this season, it says that he's grudgingly accepting that, and that, I never realized we could actually fight alongside the Elixni. And he's reconsidering a lot of things. He makes specific note of Osiris driving him off, basically, which we read last season in the lore with you guys. And he makes note that he feels that a war is coming. I think they're setting it up for Saladin to leave us pretty soon.
Yeah.
It really feels like, everything we've gotten for him since Season of Arrivals has been really, even before Season of Arrivals, has been really somber. And I think what's really going to send him over the edge is when he finds out that Fellwinter is back.
Yeah.
When he finds out that Rasputin survived and was actually Fellwinter the whole time.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to send him over the edge. But for right now, he's hanging out with Keitel. He is Zavala's ambassador, which kind of a bold move, I think.
Yeah.
I like it, but I think it still speaks to Zavala's character more than anything, that he trusts him to do that after he so rigorously objected to this. He wanted to kill them in a bloodbath, and now he's being sent as humanity's emissary. I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot of what Zavala thinks of the man. These two do not like each other. Don't forget, Zavala, Shax, and Saladin do not like each other. The three of them do not talk.
Yeah.
This is massive for Zavala to trust Saladin, because that means at some point they had to actually have a conversation face to face, likely after fake Osiris left.
And it's almost like you can respect someone without liking them, right? I mean, like I feel like this shows just the enormous amount of respect they have for one another, even though they don't like each other or agree with each other a lot of the time.
Right. But speaking of Osiris, this next one we have, I think, is actually probably the most somber lore that I've read so far from this season. It was one that Johnny recommended that I read, and I kind of put it off for a few days. Finally got to it this morning while I was waiting at a doctor's appointment, and it's for the new bow. It's for Wolftone Draw. Keep the string a little loose. It's supposed to sound like that. Petrovenge. The slithering dark is cold against my face. I cannot speak, cannot breathe. I reach for Sagira, but then I remember. I form a fist, but feel nothing. I am bound, and as I thrash, the images cut fissures through my mind. Someone? The awoken prince? He helps me to my feet, but still I struggle in the dark, and now she is standing, thanking him, but she uses my voice. My voice! She has stolen my form, my voice, but someone will see my failure and cast her out. They must. A glimmer of sunlight. How long has it been? Zavala looks at me, at her, considers her words, poison cloaked in wisdom. I cry out, he must know. Zavala, listen, you know me, you know not to. Smell of night flowers. I am walking. She is walking through a moonlit garden, and there is Ikora speaking, laughing, nodding. Look, Ikora, look at me. Don't you see it? Pay attention. Pay attention. I taught you better than this. A woman, an exo, sits before me and sways, eyes vacant, but inside she is sinking as well. Now her voice, her true voice, humming, a gyre of sound, and the exo sways faster and faster. I hear his voice and push to the surface. Saint, no, no, no. I scream, but there is no sound. He looks into her eyes. He smiles. He reaches for me, but it is not me. Saint, that is not me. Please, please. I am weeping, but I cannot weep. I am nothing. Only heat and hate. Only sickness and shame. Trust me. I hear my voice say, and I drown again. So that's horrifying.
Yeah. So
That
this is Osiris his being has been captured and Savathun has assumed his form, which I'm assuming she's assumed his form in his body and his consciousness is somewhere else. Is that what this is saying?
So, yeah, I was kind of curious about that. I think that this means this kind of... So I thought this was a Mad Eye Moody situation when we got things explained last week.
Yeah.
I thought he was locked in a trunk by evil David Tennant in an alternate universe. That did not happen, clearly. Clearly, Savathun was straight up possessing Osiris's body and is suppressing, the real Osiris from coming out. Well, with Savathun and that crystal, that now begs the question of where is Osiris's body at?
Right.
And Osiris has been privy to everything that has happened, which makes the image of him in last week's cutscene where he's crying, he's holding his knees and crying after Sagira's death, even more heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
That's the first time, but correct me if I'm wrong, that I think we've ever seen him without his helmet and without his mask on.
No, we saw him in the Curse of Osiris DLC. When he's talking to Ikora.
I played that one time and never again.
Yeah, him and Ikora had a conversation where he took his hood off. It was like one cutscene at the end.
Anyways, I don't remember that, so it was new to me. He looks very Captain Rex-esque from Star Wars. That
was the meme that was going around during that.
Oh, okay, I got you. Now, see, you step away from a game for 6 months and look what happens.
I mean, it was a good 6 months to step away from, I guess.
It was a very good 6 months. It was very relaxing. This is really heart-wrenching. This kind of confirms, Jesus Christ. This kind of confirms what we've all suspected. You know, when we had the lore about Savathun walking through the city, and she was in a prison of flesh and meat and flesh, basically. We were like, oh, she totally made a fake Osiris body. No, she has the real thing in her possession, and that I think is even more deadly for Osiris. She didn't just lock him up somewhere. She straight up took his entire body. I don't think that bodes well for Osiris.
It's almost like even if we save Osiris, we can't save him almost.
I hate to be that person, but I feel like Osiris is going to have a blaze of glory moment to try and kill her.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to set off the Witch Queen.
Yeah.
This is very not good. This is very bad. It is unnerving. I think this speaks to how evil Savathun is, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough just to duplicate Osiris's body and take his form. She quite literally took over his body and is forcing him to watch what's happening.
Yeah.
And suppressing him the entire thing. That's also a testament to her power.
It's so terrifying. She's able to
suppress probably the strongest willed guardian in the universe.
It's terrifying.
And she is basically, she's made him a meat puppet. If I could, I would send this knowledge to my guardian right now and be like, yo, you need to stop Mara from her plan because she's going to get Osiris killed.
Right.
And then Saint's going to turn around and kill her.
Right. You think Osiris is going to survive till the Witch Queen?
Nope.
Or do you think that's going to set off the witch?
I fully think that Osiris. I think that Osiris's death is written on the wall right now. And at this point, you can easily avert it, but I do think we're heading for another heart-wrenching character death, which I've seen a lot of people speculate it's going to be Ikora because she's prominently featured in the trailer for the Witch Queen.
Yeah, but they just recast her. I don't feel like you recast her unless you're going to keep her around.
Exactly. Unless you're, having Nolan North do the voice because you plan on killing the character off, like in the first mission.
Yeah, but that...
R.I.P. Kate 6.
Yeah, but this is a little bit different. This feels different than that. Because Nolan North is already around, right? Like, you don't... I feel like...
I was mainly being facetious.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, like, if you're going to kill Ikora, wouldn't you have just, like, had Gina Torres come back for, like, one day to read some lines and then, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would have been easy enough.
Enthusiastic voice.
Yeah, that's all.
I think the writing is on the wall there for Osiris, but, I mean, this is Destiny. Anything can happen. Osiris could be killed off. He could be left alive. Like, who knows? And I really like that Bungie has gotten away from posting lore on their website, because this feels like something that in the past probably would have been released as like pre-season lore or something.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to how we got the whole Nokris story on there. We got Osiris's journey leading into Beyond Light was all posted online.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff I want in game, and I love that part of the Witch Queen reveal when they say the days of the story being in lore books is over. So much of what we've already gotten the last couple of weeks feels like it would have just been relegated to lore books in the past.
Unless we put them in a 300-page compendium and sell them every 6 months for $30.
I mean, like, dude, listen, I love buying these Grimoire books. I'm gonna need y'all to do one of like everything you ever put online, though. Yeah. Because those are great references, but it's really hard looking up those transcripts, like either on Bungie.net or on Ishtar Collective. Right. It's hard for archival purposes and for like researcher purposes, I think. Mm-hmm. But before I shift completely out of Lore Corner, I want to address the anomaly they talk about in Peacebound real quickly. Okay. Because this is playing into a fan theory. That's why I specifically wanted to read this one when I saw it today. The last bit that I wanted to bring up from this week is some sleuthing that the Destiny community has done. And that is that if you look closely at Ikora's board of notes in front of her in the Witch Queen trailer, we never see where she is. But it very clearly, I don't think she's in the throne world at all. No. There is an image, if you zoom in, that is the exact map of Destiny 1's Mars. Of the exclusion zone. What if we bring back Destiny 1 Mars? What if Ikora figures out a way to break the anomaly open and we get that and we finally figure out what happened to Callus in the Witch Queen? What if that's the seasonal arc? Yeah, when Witch Queen launched this, we launch an investigation into what happened to Callus.
Or like if that's like, I don't know, the second season of the expansion or whatever. Like maybe not. Right. You know. Well, like we've tied together so many, like all 4 seasons have tied together now. Mm-hmm. The storyline from Arrivals straight through has literally told the same. Yeah, it's connected. Well, Arrivals led straight into Beyond Light, and then Season of the Hunt started a storyline. It's really Crow's story in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's Crow and Savathun. They've really been the center of this storyline. And now, we've seen that path weave, and it's just a matter of how do we get to what happens in the Witch Queen now. Which is crazy to think about, because that whole Beyond Light trailer focused on Elsie. It's an expansion. It's supposed to focus on the expansion. I'm glad we went in knowing nothing about the season. Yeah. That's been such a treat that they've been doing since Arrivals. They don't tell us what's happening in the season until like the week of or the day of. Mm-hmm. I love it. It gives me, it lets me, because when we got the Endless Night last season, we were all shocked. Yeah. We were like, what the hell is happening here? Oh, Mithrax is here. Like, oh my God. Like, when we talk about, we just did the road, this whole year's been the road to Witch Queen from Hunt onwards, right? Yeah. We started dealing with Ziva, Wrathback, and Hunt in an underwhelming season, but great for lore, and then 3 stellar seasons. Mm-hmm. So that story end in the Witch Queen. That makes it logical the season we get with Witch Queen is going to start the road to Lightfall. Right. And ultimately the final shape. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to be laying seeds for the final shape in the Witch Queen base expansion. Yeah. But if we're going to proceed to Lightfall, the clash of light and dark finally, you have to have Callus there. He is the only one who's truly glimpsed the darkness and lived to tell the tale. Mm-hmm. Or so he claims. Mm-hmm. So if he's really encountered whoever's behind the pyramids, I mean, maybe Callus comes back and we have to bring him out of the dark. We have to bring him back to kind of like the neutral side. We're very clearly in the middle. And Savathun makes note of that this week in this week's quest dialogue. She says,
there is a line. The line between light and dark is so very thin.
Mm-hmm.
She said, we've heard that before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she says it to us again. And
Mm-hmm.
she says, if you want to know where you stand in this fight, simply stand on the line and look up.
Yeah. I feel like Elsie said that at the beginning of Beyond Light.
Elsie says that, and I believe Aramis says it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Aramis definitely said it too. Yeah.
It's great. I think that this is...
Gosh, there's so much that happened this whole year, and it's so easy to forget how much has just happened.
And now, back and we have to reread everything that Osiris said to us this year because we have to read it as Savathun now.
Yeah.
And that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, like we're gonna have to catch y'all up.
We're just her marionettes. We
really are. Like, she is a master puppeteer. Like, Savathun has been built for years now. Like, we had our first mention in the Books of Sorrow, but even from base Destiny 2, they started hinting at Savathun. We had Savathun's song. We had the strike with the Shrieker.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Forsaken, obviously, Oryx was the one who took Riven initially, but then Savathun comes in, and Riven grants the last wish to Savathun. Mm-hmm. She starts the murder battery, and she's been interfering ever since then. Mm-hmm. She stirred up the conflict on the moon to draw our attention away. Mm-hmm. She tried to interfere with the Dark Fleet. She mentions that. She took Osiris's form. She led Crow to us. She, helped stop she helped stop the Endless Night. She didn't expect us to survive that. She claims to have helped drive the Cabal to the bargaining table as Osiris, even though I think that was meant to backfire as well. Like, we've defeated her at every single turn, essentially. Mm-hmm. The only thing that went the way she wanted it to was us bringing Crow, and that was supposed to be a weapon for her. Right. Was for the city to learn who he was and turn him against us. Yeah. There's a lot going on with Savathun. We're going to have to do a recap on her. I know we did a lore corner on her last year, but the last 15 months have kind of changed our perception of her drastically. Right. And there's just so much to
plus
take
with
in now.
plus with the comments that they made in that interview, if she's not really the big bad, then who is, right? You really have to there's so much, because
at that not point, only do you probably the winnower, right? The fabled one behind the veil, the enemy behind the veil. I think the Wizard of Oz, essentially.
I'm saying not only do you have to read Osiris as Savathun now, but you also have to read it from the point of Savathun is scared and running from something that's scarier than she is.
For Savathun to be scared shitless, there is something that happens that forces her to retreat to her throne world. Oh, something happens that forces her to go there.
Man, this is it's getting so good, Josh. It's getting so good. So good. Man, what an episode, Josh. What
an episode, man. We got to stop here. We got to save some stuff for future weeks.
We do, but we have 6 months to kill, Josh.
We have 6 months to kill, and it's not going to quite be as quiet as we thought it was.
No. Gosh.
Especially if some of the data mine strands are to be believed. It appears that we may be heading for a overhaul of Festival of the Lost this year. Thank God.
Thank God.
But in the next couple of months, we still don't have a roadmap for this year, which I find kind of refreshing, because they've even hidden things inside of the API now to where the lore books can't be data mined on day one anymore. Mm-hmm. They have to physically be unlocked in the game. They have to flip a switch manually, right, for us to be able to read them. So I prefer it that way. But we've got a lot of story content in September going into October. Festival of the Lost, Moments of Triumph, the Dawning. The 30th anniversary event is going to coincide with the Dawning. We've got Halo dropping 24 hours after the 30th anniversary happens. This is going to be a crazy fall. We told you guys we were trying to come up with some plans. Well, that was when we were still planning on Halo dropping in November. Right. We will still talk some Halo, but there's going to be a big 30th anniversary event, and we're going to start getting a running counter of Josh's Bright Dust going. Yeah. Because we're getting close, everyone. We're at 88,000 right now. We are hitting 100K before Halloween.
Do it, Josh.
We're doing it.
Do it.
Do it. We're doing it.
Give
me that bonus Bright Dust, Bungie. You promised me bonus Bright Dust this season.
Bright Dust.
Bright Dust. And then as soon as I do it, I'm blowing it all on the 30th anniversary. I'm buying everything humanly possible for Dust.
Of course you are.
Because if I buy any more Destiny stuff, my girlfriend may actually kill me.
I mean, she will.
I bought the collector's edition this week when it went back up for order.
Mm-hmm.
They sold it without the game code, so I was able to rationalize, well, it's only 150 and not 250. I'll spend the other 100 on the game when the anniversary is getting close.
Yeah.
I can split my money up a little bit here because I also got that Halo Infinite Xbox coming in November as well.
Oh gosh.
Listen, Bungie pre-charged my card for the collector's edition, so I'm okay. I'll be out of the woods by November. It's okay.
Gosh,
and I may or may not have a hoodie, a shirt, and a couple seals on the way.
I think, speaking of hoodies, I think I'm going to get the Splicer shirt or hoodie.
You can't anymore.
What do you mean?
The 31st was the last day you could order it.
No, really?
Yeah, really.
God damn it.
Because I ordered mine on the 30th that
I was going to say, I just looked at it on Monday. I was like, I think I'm going to get it. God.
Yeah, it's no longer available.
Damn it, Josh.
But you know what is available? That Witch Queen t-shirt.
Yeah, but it's...
Which I 100% got. It may be here in time for my vacation, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, the collector's edition is still up?
It is still up. Because they don't have them with the codes. I think that's part of the deal.
Oh, man.
I was very happy. Joe messaged me as soon as they went back up. He's like, get it, because I was bemoaning the fact I didn't do it. Friend of the show, Ray, was telling me, don't worry about it. I ordered one. If need be, you can have mine. Joe wanted to trade me his for my Halo Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I really want my girlfriend really wants the Halo Xbox. Like, I want it, but she really wants it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm not allowed to buy anything more video game related for a long time.
Yeah.
I think the next purchase she's going to let me make is probably Battlefield, like at the end of October. And even that's like, Metroid. Metroid comes out in a month. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry, I ordered that collector's edition too. I'm sorry if you're listening to this, babe.
Yeah.
Corey, get me out of here before we start talking about my bank account more.
Oh my gosh, how Josh is after the Disney trip. Josh is going to be single and ready to mingle because he spent too much money on games.
No, she's the one spending the money on vacation, not me. I'm I'm building a lightsaber. I have no agenda for anything else. She's the one who's going, I'm getting this, and I'm getting this, and I'm getting this.
What about your What about your 800 Earl of sandwiches, Josh?
I am going to buy at least 3 sandwiches on this trip. That is not an exaggeration.
Those are rookie numbers. I buy 3 in one sitting, Josh.
Those are being bought on the way to the airport and going in my freezer when I get home.
If you eat one on this,
if you eat one, a small soft-sided cooler for like a lunch pail from, I swear to God,
I'm just saying,
put some ice in it and bring it on the plane.
If you sit here and eat one of those sandwiches on this show, Josh, I swear to God, I swear to God, I will drive to Texas and slap you and drive home.
Get us out of here.
Oh my gosh. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to Tower Casuals. Remember, Tower Casuals has a YouTube channel now. You can go subscribe there. Some cool things are happening. Please go hit that subscribe button. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and whatever other podcast apps you want to listen to us on. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Tower Casuals. Email the show at towercasuals@gmail.com. Josh, where can we find you?
Twitter at Josh_Finn, 2 N's. I've seen some of you guys follow me. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving us our best ever week, though.
I know.
In terms of downloads and listens on this show. We did 2 episodes last week. We weren't sure that y'all were going to want 2 episodes, and y'all showed up with the best individual numbers and the best weekly numbers we've ever had.
Clearly people wanted 2 episodes, Josh.
Yeah, for some reason you wanted to hear me ramble for 2 straight hours.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good week.
A very good week.
I mean, I think Destiny's just people are excited about Destiny. They want to listen to some Destiny, and look, when you type,
we want to give you as much as you want.
Yeah, when you type Destiny, the game.
Please write your questions in.
Yes.
Any questions you have, any builds that you're working on, weapons that we haven't talked about that we should talk about,
questions,
exotics you think have been buffed that are awesome. Are you using Merciless this season? Let me know. How's Sleeper Stimulant going for you? Are you still farming Shiro Chi for those catalysts? What lore topics do you want tackled besides just the seasonal stuff that we're going to be doing?
Yeah.
Let me know. What needs a refresh? What do we need to get into? You guys got to let me know and we'll do it.
Give us your stuff. Anything.
All of the stuffs.
All of the stuffs. You can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter. That is, I guess I should clarify that my name has an E in it. Corey. Right? Like, I don't think people know that. And that, I don't know.
I'll be honest, I never knew a Corey that had an E in their name until I met you.
That's fine. It's not common.
That's fine. Every other Corey was an asshole, so...
That's fair. I can be one.
If your name is Corey and you don't have an E in your name, I'm very sorry. Please don't take it personally.
So, yeah, you can find me at I am Corey in HD. Remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you listen to us. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. Give us those 5 stars. I think we're going to, if you leave us a nice review, we will read them on the show. So I kind of want to do that too. Encourage people to get in there on that Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you Starside. Goodbye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.